I mean, like, I've never hit somebody because the thing is, like, I train at boxing. Like, I love fighting. So when you know how to throw a fucking punch, you don't want to hit people because it's going to fucking hurt, you know? But, like, in sparring, I do fight a little bit. And I was sparring 3 days ago. This fucking guy hit me so fucking hard, uppercut me in the mouth, cut my fucking lip open. And like when you're sparring, you're supposed to be really light contact. And
yeah, so you had no mouth guard.
No mouth guard. And I watched him fucking look me in, because I hit him with like a jab, and I watched him give me that eye of like, we're not about to be friends anymore. And then he fucking caught me. And of course I'm like bleeding and shit. But as a guy, you can't even show that, you know. Yeah. You just eat 7 more. And you're like, I deserve this. You know. But
it was
yeah.
worth it.
So you didn't retaliate?
No, that was the end of the round. I got him a couple times the next one, but, you know. I try to be professional with contact. You can fucking hurt people. You know what I mean? So
every gym has one.
Yeah. So, but that's as bad as it gets for me.
All right.
Nobody. I'm 6'2", 220 pounds. Nobody wants to fucking, you know.
Now who's disappointing?
Yeah.
It is. It's pretty disappointing.
Having him in a controlled environment.
Right.
A woman is hitting
Not
me.
on board. All right, Katheryn, make me happy.
I mean, I've got a couple.
Give me violence.
We could do one when I was underage.
You tell whichever is your favorite story.
They're both pretty good. I mean, I've ended up in jail, but the one when I was underage, I got into 2 fights that night. One started on the internet, of course, with this guy. Like LiveJournal used to be a thing, and he was like, "If you guys come to Capitol Garage, this is in Sacramento, California, like a venue. I'm gonna pull a gun on your like friend, right?" So we were all like, "Let's go!" Like, you know, let's call this dude out. So when I got there, I got into a fight with a girl named Fat Melissa. She cheated, pulled my hair. Huh?
How'd you get that name?
She was fat.
She's anorexic.
She was anorexic.
Was there another Melissa, or did you just call her Fat Melissa?
We called her Fat Melissa.
That's the reason she beat the shit out of her.
Yeah, she beat the shit out of me because, like, I dressed mod, but I hung out with punk rockers, and she was like, "You're a poser," and I was like, "Try me," and then
Jesus,
she pulled my hair.
You fucking Tumblr people, man. You guys have your own ecosystem.
Tumblr people.
Tumblr
Just picture her hitting you like, it's slightly overweight, Melissa, bitch.
And then I ended up pulling a knife on that guy that night.
Night.
Yeah, because he was at Capitol Garage, like and so I got into a fight with Fat Melissa, and then I pulled a knife, and it was my 16th birthday.
Wait, this is all the same day?
Yeah, the same evening. Because you know, in like a small town, there's like only a few places to hang out when you're like into shit, right? So everybody gathers in that one place, and it all goes down. Like I slapped a 14-year-old because he slapped cigarettes out of my hand, and then he started to cry. He was like the little brother of some like really popular hardcore dude, you know? So then he came up and started to try shit with me. I mean, I was a little, you know, asshole.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk about with the guy. So how do you come face to face with him? How does this go from online to in person?
We didn't know who he was, and after we were done fighting Fat Melissa, we got her to tell us.
Sounds like a final boss in a video game.
Tell me what you know, Fat Melissa.
We were like, who's this guy Chris? You know, because none of us knew what he looked like. We just knew he'd been talking shit, you know? Yeah. And then they pointed him out. He was like some skinny, like emo guy or whatever.
Skinny Chris.
And so I went up to him and I like had a knife and I was like, "Where's your gun, dude?" And
so did you pull a knife immediately? Like you approached with knife, and you were like,
I walked up to him and then I started talking to him and then I like took it out.
What kind of knife?
So this knife at the time, a boyfriend I had gave it to me. It was like, it didn't look like a knife, but when it folded out, it was a very large blade. But I could wear it around my neck, and it just looked like this pendant. But it was like a very
fun.
Yeah, it was really nice. For 16, it was a nice little charm to have.
This is great.
Armed.
Wait, so what happened? You pulled the knife.
Well, then my friend Barbara actually hit him, and then we ran. You know, because once you actually put your hands on people, it starts getting weird.
And you can hear Fat Melissa starting to get up in the back.
Wheezing and rolling around like a turtle.
Yeah.
But it was just weird because, I mean, I was so young and very violent for a young person.
Yeah.
Have you ever close-fisted punched someone?
I feel like you've almost hit me
just
before.
her, I think, that I've almost hit you. That's fair. Who hasn't, though?
Yeah, that's true.
I think just that girl, Fat Melissa. I mean, I've been to jail for slapping.
Really?
I slapped my ex-boyfriend, yeah. And he went to jail, too. He, like, kicked our wall in after I slapped him.
He called the cops for an open hand slap.
We were both wasted. I called the cops when he started kicking the wall in. And then they got there, and I was arrested for assault, and he was arrested for criminal mischief, which is like something that Hamburglar does. Yeah. And that was a really
Yeah.
It's a long story, but it's a funny story.
Criminal
one
mischief
day.
sounds like a crime only committed outside of Taco Bell's.
Right? Yeah. I was well received in jail, is what I mean to say. Because I was funny. And they were,
I believe it.
and they were like, "What? Why are you here?" You know, like the 16-year-olds. It's like that's not their first time in jail.
Yeah.
Like one came in the afternoon and they like fist bumped another one. They were like, "Yeah, I'll be out by midnight. I'll do it all again tomorrow." And I'm like, "Okay, all right, this is my first time." And they ended up really liking me, and they were like, "So what are you in for?" And I was like, "Well, I slapped my boyfriend." They're like, "You want me to fuck him up? Like really low key? You want me to fuck him?" And I was like, "No, I think it's okay."
I love this. Do you think it's a small town thing? Like I have so.
Well, this
many...
was here. That was here.
Oh, right.
Yeah, that was in Brooklyn.
Because I come from like a small-ish city in Australia, and I have so many friends that went through like a violent. It was such a pain in the fucking ass to hang out with these guys because every 5 months someone would be going through a violent period.
Yeah.
So we'd be just trying to hang out, and someone would pick a fight.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, "Why are you doing this, dude? We would just don't throw a drink in that guy's face. We just want to hang out."
Older friend of mine grew up in Brooklyn, and he told me like every weekend when him and his crew would go out, they're all like Bay Ridge Italians. They had like three of.
Where I used to work.
Oh really? Yeah, they had like three. You might know about this.
Probably.
Three of the guys would be like, "Let's just fucking hit the first guy we see. Let's start a prop." And a lot of times it'd be bouncers.
No problem.
Yeah, and he would tell me like back then, like bouncers, if you got to know.
Take people in the alleyway and beat the shit out of
Yes,
them.
he's like they would
My
pull
exes.
you, pull you back into the bar, take you downstairs, and just beat the shit out of you.
For sure.
Yeah, and he's like, yeah, like we would ride trains and shit on the top of the trains, and I was like, why don't you guys have jobs? You know, but they're all fucking psychos in certain pockets of neighborhoods. You know,
I mean,
Those are my exes from Brooklyn. When I used to live in Brooklyn, and I
No
dated
shit.
like 3 or 4 neighborhood bouncers.
Yeah.
And it was always that kind of situation where somebody acts up and they get pulled into the alleyway, or I'd go home early, my mistake, and I get a call that he's in the hospital, either chained to the bed or in jail.
Jesus.
Often.
Do you like
Christ.
what kind of bouncer do you like? Strong or kind of flabby?
Eric's a big boy.
I
with
like
muscles.
big.
Yeah.
Like the biggest one.
Okay.
If they can be like a little chubby, but they have to be solid.
Okay.
Society radio.
So yeah, like one of the guys I dated, a bouncer, but like he was like having an altercation with like a patron outside of the place, and they were like going back and forth, and then the guy was just like a shadow boxing all around, and then like my ex like lost his patience and just like hit him. No, he hit him once, and the guy just dropped, and he's like, "Stay the fuck down, stay the fuck down." The guy gets back up again. It was a whole thing, and then he comes back into the bar afterwards, and then I had to like use like vodka to like clean his knuckles, and it was love
You
ever
must have
since.
been so
This is like an episode of
You
Sons
must
of
have been
Anarchy or some
fucking
shit.
sopping wet, cleaning that
loved
guy
every
up. Yeah,
second
look at
of
this.
it.
shit. He's fucking reliving it. Look at
That's
this
a
shit.
different
I kinda
kind of
think it's
love,
hot.
though.
Thank you.
There you
I'm
go.
into it.
One of my friends, Ben, who was not in, he should never be in a fight with anyone, went through a period where all he would do is try to get in fights every time we would go out. And we used to drink at a place in Adelaide called the Crown and Anchor, the Cranker. And we were out the front all drinking. And a guy was getting kicked out of the bar, like the bouncer Mandy, who was this short lesbian that we all knew, was kicking this guy out of a bar. And he was like, "I come here all the time. This is fucking..." And Ben just stands up from our table and yells at the guy who's in the middle of getting kicked out. He's like, "Are you a faggot? Get out of the bar!" And the guy lost it. Like, he just started running towards our table, kicked a bunch of shit over, and he came swinging at us. And the bouncer Mandy grabbed him around the waist and just like dragged him. And Ben was like standing there like he'd done something awesome. I'm like,
Yeah.
"You're an
Got
idiot."
dragged out by a girl.
Yeah.
Pussy.
She was fucking tough. No one fucked with Mandy.
It'd be great if you meant it like, "Are you a faggot? No? Then get out of this gay bar.
Then what are you talking about?
Quit leading us on, man."